The Canon 1DX Mark II is Canon's newest flagship DSLR. This camera is very interesting for a lot of different reasons. Over the past 5 years, we've seen a revolution of stills cameras with video capabilities to rival that of even dedicated video cameras, and offering it at a more affordable price on top of that. Now with that being said, these cameras still can't ever seem to fully replace the need for video and cinema cameras, but still offer incredible possibilities. Which brings me to the new 1DX. To put it as clear as possible, this is not a cinema camera. So if you want to get this camera just for the video capabilities, this may not be the camera for you. The price point of this being $6,000 is priced for its phenomenal photo capabilities as well, where you can get similar features in video with built-in ND filters and other important features for about $1,000 or $2,000 less. With that being said, let's jump in. The biggest complaint people had about the 1DX Mark II when it was announced was its lack of C-Log. But like I said earlier, it's not a video camera. But don't worry too much, this camera doesn't lack dynamic range by any means. In fact, after shooting this video, someone released a picture profile that is extremely similar to C-Log to download for only about $25. I'll put a link in the description for that. If you go into the picture profiles and set the camera to ProLos flat, you can get a pretty decent amount of dynamic range straight off the bat. You can also download Cinestyle or the C-Log equivalent that I mentioned earlier, which will give you even wider dynamic range, give you a lot more range in post. I've yet to know if Cinestyle is recommended for the new 1DX because it was created when Canon's DSLRs only shot in 1080p, so I'm not sure if it degrades the quality in any way. If someone can confirm whether or not it does, that would be awesome. Say it in the comments and let us know. Now this camera also has some amazing autofocusing capabilities, which is a very new feature in these video-capable DSLRs. The dual-pixel autofocusing system basically uses two AF systems, the first one to search for the subject, and the second one to snap to it. It works really well, and coupled with the touchscreen, pulling focus is extremely easy. You can also track objects with the touch of a finger, and its tracking I've found is extremely successful. The AF system also has an integrated face detection which will automatically track faces and seems to keep focus even when the subject faces away from the camera. I love the dual pixel autofocus because it makes working with sliders and stabilizers so much easier, considering you don't have to constantly manage pulling focus. This is a huge win on Canon's part. A new addition to Canon cameras in general is slow motion. Finally, Canon has added slow motion capabilities in at least one of their cameras. Shooting at full frame 1080p at 120 frames per second, you can get really cool shots with the full frame depth of field in slow motion. The camera automatically interpolates it to 24p, giving you slow motion straight out of camera wrapped in an MOV format. The camera shoots 1080p using the full frame of the image, whereas 4K crops the image to a crop factor of 1.42. This is close to Super 35mm, which is a very common format for video and cinema. The camera does this to get a 1:1 pixel readout in 4K without having to start pixel binning and other compression methods. This gives you a very high quality sharp image. It's beautifully detailed and it's really unlike any other camera I've used. I can see this cutting well with the red in 4K without any problems really. The only drawback of these high quality 4K files is the space it takes up. Shooting in motion JPEG, which is creating a separate 8.8 megapixel JPEG for each frame of video. The codec is literally motion picture. You can cut through a 64GB memory card in absolutely no time. I definitely recommend getting much larger cards for video, just to ensure they're at 100 megabits per second or higher in order to shoot 4K at 24p. 4K at 60 frames per second is really only possible with the CFast 2.0 card. Here are the ISO tests, starting at ISO 100 and going up from there. Low light for the 1DX is pretty good. It's mind-blowing to be able to say that shooting at ISO 10,000 isn't the best on the market. The A7S II, I think, still leads the market in low light capabilities in video. This would be mainly due to Sony's genius choices with the sensor in that camera, but I'll save that for maybe another camera review. Skewing has always been a problem for DSLRs, and that's because the shutter of these cameras is a rolling shutter instead of a global shutter. More on that in a different video, but the point is, cameras have suffered from diagonal distortion when panning back and forth quickly from side to side. For the longest time, I thought there was no way to fix this, and that it was just the nature of the beast. But this camera does surprisingly well with rolling shutter. I'm not sure if they put some software in there that counteracts it or what, but it handles it surprisingly well. This is a great feature to have because it allows you to get very organic handheld shots without having to worry about your shot falling apart from rolling shutter swaying the picture back and forth. You can see in some of these shots how well it holds up. The thing that impresses me the most about this camera is how cinematic the video looks. The fact that this is Canon's flagship photography camera on top of that makes this a true Swiss Army knife of a camera. Which is why I would recommend this camera to anyone looking to do both video and photos while achieving very professional results on both sides. This is one heck of a camera and won't disappoint for the photo and video user out there. It's really quite amazing knowing that I can take this camera with me to just about any shoot that is thrown at me, and it will give me the professional quality that clients expect. The capabilities of this camera are amazing if you get to know it well enough. It is a huge confidence booster knowing that Canon has manufactured a camera with the photographer and the videographer in mind. I would definitely point you to the direction of this camera if you need high quality photo and video capabilities and a camera that requires minimal add-ons to achieve professional results. This camera and many others like it are a sign of where the industry is and where it's going. It allows content creators far and wide the opportunity to create what they want when they want, without the need for an extremely expensive Hollywood cinema camera. We live in an era where if you want to make a film, you have no excuse not to make it. And quality equipment is only going to become more and more affordable for the beginner independent filmmaker. My name is Kyle Johnson, and thank you so much for watching my 1DX Mark II film review.